Hey, I'm John. Welcome to Mr. G's Workbench. Time for a new build, and I'm going along with all the cool kids on this one. It seems like everyone's building the Eduard P-40 kit, so I'm going to dogpile in on that as well. And my one exception is I noticed most of the guys that are building them are using either the Royal Class Boxing or I believe it's the Pacific Star dual combo set. I went the cheap route. I'm going to nickel and dime my way through this build. I picked up the Overtrees set from Eduard. So that's just the plastic parts. They don't give you an instruction sheet or anything. No decals, no photo etch, nothing. So it's just the plastic parts. In addition, I picked up off of eBay the Eduard Look 3D instrument panels for the P-40E. And for markings, I picked up a set of super scale international decals for the P-40. So we're going to be building it as Texas Longhorn, which was a P-40E originally destined for either England or New Zealand, and wound up being marked up as a U.S. Army Air Corps plane. So we're going to go with that, and we're going to see how we can do with as little aftermarket as possible, okay? The whole reason I got the 3D instrument panel is that's just one of those things. I don't have any decals from Eduard, I therefore don't have any markings for the cockpit. So even if I wanted to do like decals for the instrument panel, it wasn't going to work because I don't have them, obviously. So I thought that was the one place where, and the other thing I like about the Eduard's Look sets is they give you photo etch seat belts, which I think are a big plus. I prefer that to the 3D printed seat belts, which when you fold them, they have a tendency to want to crack or just break apart. So none of that. Let's jump in and we'll see how this goes. I mean, it's a basic model kit that you're building with just the 3D instrument panel. So how bad can it be, right? All right, so let's jump in and see how this goes. Quick recap of where we are to date. To paint the interior, I used, this is Ammo's new Atom paint, and it's their Duck Egg Green is their cockpit color. It was a somewhat close match to the DuPont chip for what Curtiss used their cockpits. It's probably a little light. For my purposes, I think it's good enough. Once you throw, I'm going to use a brown oil wash to bring out the details. So I think that'll darken it slightly and put it where I want it to be. The kit seat isn't horrendous. It's kind of doable. I'm kind of at my wit's end with Eduard fiddly parts. I understand it's more scale and all that good stuff, but it's just sometimes it's annoying. The sides are here. I've removed detail as necessary to accommodate the Eduard Space 3D printed cockpit stuff. Number 5 there, that briefcase looking thing will go on here. The instrument panel stuff is there and a plethora of other stuff. So I've detail painted to the best of my ability here. I'm pretty satisfied with that. quick color discussion here. This area behind the cockpit where you'll have the transparencies going over it. There's some discussion because a lot of instructions will tell you that's the cockpit color or the interior color, what have you. And based on the more compelling stuff I've read, that's not the case. There are color photos that show that's not the case. So it's typically going to be the fuselage color. So I've elected to use the green that I'm using for the fuselage color. So I've done that. I did a little bit of a highlight on it. I'm going to come in and do a pin wash to bring out some of the rivets before I put the transparencies on, and then I'll continue with that. I'm not crazy about the cockpit color I used. Looking back on it, I think it's slightly too light. A lot of people just use interior green, but also based on the stuff I read, the Curtis cockpit green was lighter, closer to this, which is what I wound up using for my interior color. But I feel like, you know what, looking back on it, I probably should have done the cockpit and the interior color as a slightly darker green, but it's done. I'm going to live with it. I'm going to continue with the ammo colors. Their early RAF colors should work just fine. So this is their representation for the green. That's what I'm going with. And their brown as well. The underside is a source of heated discussion with model nerds. And Eduard would have you do neutral gray underneath. But if these planes were painted for the RAF, they're brown and green on top, well, dark earth and dark green, and the underside is sky type S gray, which is actually, from what I've read, closer to a duck egg blue. So I actually have a color. I have a duck egg blue that I may very well use. If not that, I'll use the underside color that ammo gives you, which they call duck egg. So we'll see what happens. Onward. All right, another issue. So this is a John created problem. Back in this step, when you're assembling the wings, I overlooked this note here about drilling these holes out for the fuel tank brackets. So when I went to put them in, I don't have these holes. If I had paid attention, there'd be holes here and here. If the parts fit as well as the rest of the kit did, this would have just drop fit right into there. I didn't drill those holes. You could see I tried locating holes. I drilled one, it didn't work. I was gonna use this tank and option Q. The brackets just got worse and worse. This just got worse and worse. This piece E31 is glued in now. There's nothing I can do about that. So I threw this tank away. I went to option R. That's this tank. I clipped the pegs off that would have went in the holes, drilled out the holes that are there for the center parts of the tank, but no matter what I do, this is not going to fit. The outer legs won't touch the bottoms of the wings if I locate the inner legs into those holes. Nothing lines up. So see, like that looks good from here, but half the legs aren't touching anything. The inner ones aren't in the holes. So no tank for me. It's just going to be plain bottom. It is what it is. So it's going to be the plain with no fuel tank. Well, there we have it. Not a bad kit overall. Some typical Eduard issues I had with it. Not entirely the fault of Eduard. Let me just run through this really quick. I'll put this on the turntable. We'll take a look at it. My biggest complaint with this kit is some like fiddly parts. There's some really hard to trim without breaking fiddly parts for the cockpit, and the tail wheel is very delicate. I managed not to break it. I was very proud of myself for not doing that. The other thing that bugged me was, since I was using the kit wheels, I wanted to use there are two sets of wheels in the kit. I wanted to use the ones that had treads and had like a diamond tread. but those wheels didn't fit on the rims that the instructions say you had to use on this version. Therefore, I had to use the more puffy, balloony looking smooth tires. Not a fan of them, but I used them nonetheless because I wasn't going to mess around at that point with it. The other thing that kind of bugged me is the individual exhaust things for each side. There's 6 holes on each side of the fuselage. You have to put each exhaust nozzle in one at a time. What a pain in the dick to get them lined up. I had nothing but trouble with it. They don't look good, in my opinion, the way, that's me. Obviously, if I was a perfectionist, I would have sat. I would have made sure each one went in and lined up with the one next to it. Drove me absolutely nuts. Oh, the other place where there was some tiny parts, and I think I have a picture of it that I'll put in here, are the marker lights on the wings. If you manage not to lose them, and you can get them slid in without disappearing, they look terrific because there's a molded in spot for them so that they look like they're in a little bracket on the wing. If you can get them in, then happy days. Other than that, I was impressed with the level of detail. All the molding is really crisp and well done. Seriously, it's a good kit. Will I build another one? Probably not. If you like the Flying Tigers and stuff, I'm sure they're going to get to those versions soon. The paints I used, by the way, were the AK came out with Atom paints, and I don't know, I'm a paint whore when it comes right down to it. For me to tell you the difference between acrylics, I believe these are acrylics, and they spray really well. They don't require a lot of thinning. But I highly recommend AK has a thinner. AK's AK 712 acrylic thinner works like a charm with their Atom paints. I did everything freehand. By the way, I did everything freehand with the Galeri airbrush. I know some of you guys don't like to hear, sales pitches. This isn't so much a sales pitch as much as it is just being honest. I've been using the Galeri since they sent it to me, thank you Galeri for sending it. I did a review of it. I've continued to use it. Sprays like a charm. If you thin these Atom paints down right, take the cap off the airbrush, you can get like pencil fine lines, which is exactly what I got with this. I didn't use any masks for the camouflage. There's a link down in the video description that'll take you to Galeri's website. You should get a discount with the link I provide and the discount code. All right, there's my sales pitch for the day. If you want to do a basic build of the Eduard kit, pick up the Overtrees set, pick up some decals, pick up the Look instrument panels, and you'll get a pretty damn good build out of less than $40 worth of kit. All right, so I'll leave it at that. Thank you for tuning in. If you stayed to the end, I very much appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe, as the YouTubers like to say. It's very much appreciated if you haven't subscribed, which apparently more than half of you aren't. So just hit the freaking subscribe button. It's free, it just helps the algorithm. Leave a comment by all means. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know if you've built it. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon with another build. I've got one coming up that I think you'll all enjoy. So until then, take care, stay well, and I will see you guys next time.